Likutei Moharan, Torah Chaf Aleph. So we said that we were enumerating different manifestations of this. The 7 candles that bring one to or upon him, that source of Ruach HaKodesh. So the last one we spoke about was Miriam, that being that she spoke ill of Moshe Rabbeinu, and Moshe Rabbeinu epitomizes the perfection of the self-improvement, along the lines of the 7 candles. So, and obviously he was Likutei Ruach HaKodesh on the ultimate degree. So when Miriam has offended the kavod of Moshe Rabbeinu, Mimela she has inflicted damage on the 7, on the kavod area. So she became a leopard, and she had to be outside the camp for 7 days, which is, again, you have to go through the route of the 7 candles in order to rectify the aspect of the Orapanim.
Oh, because she was plaguing with the...
In the kavod Moshe Rabbeinu.
Right.
And Moshe Rabbeinu was all of them. It was the eyes, the ears, the nose, the mouth, everything. He was the perfection of all the 7 candles. So once you're covered, you're putting on the kavod of Moshe, means that the 7 candles were damaged. So they have to be rectified. This is how she went outside, and we said that this has to be an union of. The same thing applies to Yibum and Chalitza, if you remember. So now we're saying like this: V'zeh shebikashan, Aaron has asked Moshe to daven for Miriam so that she should heal, get well, and he said, "Al na tehi kameis, let her not be." What?
What sif are we on?
What if are we on? We are just towards the end of Vav. V'zeh shebikashan Moshe shespal on Miriam, that Aaron is asked Aaron, Al na tehi kameis, let her not be like a deceased. Asher betzeisoy merechem imoy v'yochel chatzi b'soloi, that when it comes out from his mother's womb, half his flesh is consumed, has been consumed. In other words, that Miriam shall be suffering from leprosy, which renders her like dead, because a Mitzvah is like a dead person. So it's considered as something that half the flesh was already consumed. Being what he told us is that we all came out of the same womb. She's our sister. So it will be like our sister is dead. But what's alluded to in this is through the locking up of the supernal source of light, which is Orapanim. It's like a person is dead. Why? Because she doesn't have the spiritual light that gives vitality to a person. That's why Chazal said, Metzora choshev kames, that the Metzora is considered as if he was dead. Asher betzeisoy merechem imoy, that when he comes out of his mother's womb, zeh b'chinas yibum. This is that aspect of yibum, that when a person dies, his brother has to, without children, that his brother has to marry his wife, and then he himself gets gets incarnated in the baby and is called by the name of the deceased. Shalidei Yibum, the Zohar says, that she who was his wife now is his mother. His wife becomes his mother, because the neshama of the deceased incarnates in the son that is born from that woman that was miyabim to the, to his brother. So it is therefore found that anybody, So it is therefore found that she who used to be his wife is now his mother. It says v'yachel chatzim sarah, that half his flesh will be eaten, will be consumed. It doesn't have a mate. Because the husband and the wife, and trepal gufa, they are two halves of one body, and together they are a full body. Now his wife now is his mother. It's like half a body, his mate, he was eaten. He doesn't have a mate to marry. And Reb Nosson explains, Perush, the meaning is Kimishemes below bottom, anybody who dies la aleinu without children, as a ishto itzricha l'syamim, so his wife has to go through the process, to the process of yibum. Well, they are yibum, and it is through that process of yibum, nisgal games, the deceased incarnates in the son that is born to his wife, that was miyabim by his brother. It says in Basaba, it says in the Zohar, Pashas Mishpatim, Itzei Ime, his wife is his mother. It's a big tzar, it's a big punishment, it's a big suffering to them, that his wife becomes his mother. Now he has to be born from his own wife. And his wife becomes his mother. And because of that, the son of this Yavama, that was born through the act of Yibum, it is not possible for him to find the zivug. But it has to be extraordinary mercy from HaKadosh Baruch Hu and compassion from HaKadosh Baruch Hu to get it.
The neshama of the seed goes into the baby?
Yeah. Kamuva, it is said in the Zohar, Shalav Nemo, on him it is said, Peni Kadmenu Acher Berachamim. It says there is a person that V'isha Acher Yikachem, and it says if a person, they're talking about a person that goes in the milchama. It says, who is a person who is fearful, is afraid to go to battle, let him go back. The Kohen Mashiach says, and one of the people says, anybody who betrothed a woman and didn't marry her, let go back and marry her, lest another person will take her. So Chazal said, Shema Yekadmeinu Acher Berachamim, that somebody else, it's his betrothed, his. So how can somebody else take somebody else's zivug? But if the somebody else, has hit the jackpot of compassion, he can take somebody else's zivug. Shemi kadmenu acher berachamim. Somebody else, will overtake him, berachamim. That if a person will, he can take the zivug with somebody else. Ki ze ben Yevamo, this, the son of the Yevamo, shebe'emes ubal Yevamo. Really, he is the original husband of this Yevamo. V'ishto naseis la'em, and his wife becomes a mother to him. En lo bazug, he doesn't have a mate. Machar shebazug naseis la'em, because his original mate became his mother. That's what Rabbeinu said, Shebikesh Aaron al Miriam, that Aaron has asked Rachel on Miriam, Shepogmo besechel upon him, that has, inflicted damage in the sechel upon him, in the wisdom of the upon him, the or upon him. Shezoab gam shelames belomon, which is the same kind of affliction of somebody who dies without children. He also damages the sechel upon him, that he brings down by the fact that he passed away. So his punishment is that, without having children, so he has to go through that process of being incarnated in the son of the Yavam, and his wife becomes his mother. He doesn't have a bazug. All this in order to rectify the damage that was done, the sechel upon him. Aaron asked, that Miriam, chas v'shalom, should not be punished in the punishment of Yibum. In other words, that she wouldn't be punished in leprosy, because Miriam has actually, damaged the sechel upon him. Same way as a dead person that died without children, has to go through the process of Yibum. That's his tikkun, to rectify that which was damaged upon him, and the fact that somebody was in this world and left without issue. Let there not be like that deceased that he comes out mirechem imoy. She shouldn't be kemes belobonim, like somebody who dies without children, without issue. He has to leave again, has to be born again from the womb of his mother. In other words, his wife becomes his mother. Because of this, this causes that half his flesh is consumed. In other words, he doesn't have a mate. This is half his body. Okay. So we have concluded that when a person sanctifies the 7 candles of the candelabra, mouth, nose, eyes, and ears, it merits that a shefa eloki, a divine plenty, a divine bounty, flows into his mind, and from being an unattainable makif, it becomes pnimi, it becomes something which is attainable, something which is understandable. When that happens, a person that brings the makif in, his heart is burning the Kodesh Baruch Hu all the time. And he's able to speak new diburim to Kodesh Baruch Hu all the time. And these diburim are Ruach HaKodesh. They are mamash, the spirit of holiness. We also say that through the mitzvah of Sukkah, you get this Shefa Eloki. We also said that you're through the canopy, Chasana, during the Kiddushin, this is Ruach HaKodesh, and then the 7 days of Sheva Brachas, that's the Shivas Neres, that's the 7 clouds of glory of Sukkot. It's all one thing. And we said that this is the 7 days, La Aleinu V'La Aleichem of Avelos. And this is the Indian of when a person, Chas v'Chalila, passes away without having an issue that he has to go through, his wife has to go through the process of Yibum. He has to be born to his own wife, and which is also everything, and everything is okay. Now, the Rebbe explains that sometimes the Shefa Eloki itself is not ready to be brought in. In other words, until now we understood that the person itself is not ready to bring down the Shefa Eloki because he's not Mekadesh's 7 candles. But now the Rebbe is going to explain how sometimes the Makif, the Shefa Eloki, is not yet ready to become a Makif yet. It's stuck. It's still in the process. Yeah. Forget about becoming Pnimi. About is not becoming Pnimi. It's not even a Makif. And it says like this. ולפעמים יש המויכים והשפע האלוקי הוא באלון בבחינס עיבור. Sometimes that moichim, that mentality, that divine wisdom is concealed, b'fchinas ibor, like a baby in his mother's womb. Because everything, in order to be available, to be a parent, has to go through a process of conception, pregnancy, and birth, and growth. Everything. That includes the Shefa Eloki. Before it becomes a makif. Makif means it's just waiting to come in. It's already there. There is a stage, where this in itself is born to become a makif. Sometimes it gets stuck. It is plugged up, like a baby in his mother's womb. V'az yofatzok al adam. Then shouting, crying out, is very helpful. Ben betfila ben b'torah. Sigh when you're davening and sigh when you're learning. When a person doesn't have seichel, he has constricted consciousness. Just like plugged up. Doesn't go. This is P'chinas Moichin. This is vitality in Chayes and V'yis Hashem. And this seichel and Moichin in Torah, like a seichel of Chidush Torah, when those Moichin, that vitality, that awareness, that expanded consciousness is gone. I can't figure anything out. Or you don't have any chayas and davening. For this, crying and being out loud, for this is good. Ki ha'elam, in other words, because that concealment, hainu ibor, this is like instead of gestation. B'fchinos tzur yelot choteshi. It means you forgot Hashem who created you, but there is the meaning of the words itself is what Lula is teshi. There is something called teshi during the process of giving birth. The meaning of teshi is a toshas koach minedis, when is exhaustion. Now the koach ein leda is like a woman that's supposed to give birth, and after very, very long labor, there's time for the baby to come out, but the woman is exhausted. She can't push it out anymore. In other words, the moichin don't have koyach to get out from the elam, from the concealment.
One more time, repeat that.
The moichin, the wisdom, cannot come out of the elam. They're stuck in their own aspect of womb. from Ibor. And that coming out from the Helem, for the Moichin, it's like birth. This is when the Shekhinah receives the Moichin and Shefa Eloki from the spheres that are above it. And it brings it down to this world. So sometimes the Shekhinah received the Moichin, the Shekhinah received the wisdom, received the mentality, but it didn't bring it down to this world. So this is B'chinas Elam, like Ibor. And this is Kmo Isha Shetosha Koicha Melena. This is a woman that is totally exhausted, doesn't have, she's finished, she can't. B'sha'ah Shikoras Leilad, when she is about to give birth, Ramas Shiva Neshivas Kalin, she screams out 70 screams. Within the screams that she screams, there are 70 voices. These 70 voices, it's like the words in the Mizmor of Ya'amcha Hashem Yom Tzorah in Tehillim.
What's 50? The 70?
Yeah. And then she gives birth. And Vashivin Kalam, these 70 voices that she's crying, and Pchinas Shiva Koilish Anod David Elamayim, the 7 voices that David said upon the water. As it says, Kol Hashem Alamayim, Kol Hashem Bekoyach, Kol Hashem Yirim, Hashem Almayim, Hashem Almayim Rabim, all that in Perech Haftes. Shekol Echad Korem Le'esad, every single one of these 7 voices is comprised of 10, the 10 spheres. So when the Shekhinah is like crying 70 voices, then the tefillah of the Shekhinah goes through the spheres, to the 7 spheres, all the way up to the sphere of the Bina. That's and that scream that a person shouts during his davening and during his learning, when his expanded consciousness is gone, it is B'chinas Ibor. Because these voices, a person shouts when he's learning, when he's davening, this is like the crying out of the Yoledis, the woman who was about to give birth. והקודש ברוך הוא, שהוא יודע תעלום של המכנך ניסלמו, the Kodesh Baruch Hu knows where these, at what stage these particular merchen are, ומאזין צעקתנו, he hears our crying, והצעקו, and our crying, במקום צעקת השכינה, is instead of the crying of the Shekhinah, which is the Yoledis that brings down the merchen, it's as if the Shekhinah is crying. And then the Shekhinahs give birth, or give birth to the Moichin that were held up with B'chinas Ibor, and a person receives the Moichin from the Shekhinah. Let's see. Okay, we'll just finish this particular thing. That's the voice. When a person davens loud, it makes it easier, to keep in mind what he's saying. In other words, the crying that a person shouts, it alleviates, it elevates the moichin. This is what HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, Tikol Shivas Yomim. Let her be embarrassed for 7 days. He says, Shivas Yomim, Zebchina Shiva Kula Shel David. Now, this is the 7 voices of David. Shem Shivim Kan is the 70 voices that Shetzorch Litzor Kedei Lotzi Oir Upon Him now. That's the 70 voices the person has to shout, to give birth to the upon him, Me'elam El Gilui, from being closed off to being exposed. Gilui Zeh, and that particular revelation, B'chinas Leido, this is B'chinas Leido, this is birth. V'az, and then there's a new process that come about. V'az Acher Leido, after the birth, what happens like when a woman gives birth, Dam neko v'nasa chalo. In other words, the blood that usually is, the menstruating blood of a woman that is giving birth, she doesn't bleed. This is because in the very primordial state of that particular blood, it switches to become the milk that she has to feed the baby. This is called dam nekov and asachalav. That this blood it clouds and becomes milk. So that the blood becomes the milk, so she's able to feed the baby. Zeh b'chinas tikolim. Tikolim is, what is tikolim? Tikolim is embarrassed. Ki aklim, embarrassment. What is embarrassment? This is the azal sumka v'atichivo. A person's face when they're embarrassed. What happens? They blanch, right? The redness of the face disappears and they become pale, right? So the redness goes away, replaced by white. Azal sumka, red goes away. V'atichivo, and pale, comes instead of it. Hainu, this is dam nekov and asachalo, the same process that the redness, which is the dam, goes away, and what comes is whiteness. This is the challah, that's the milk. So you see here that klima is a euphemism for the process of giving birth. Tikolem shivas yamim, through this shivas yamim, through that 70 voices, she becomes a pinas tikolem, that where the red goes away and becomes white, is the lady. And this is the later, the birthing. V'zeh tzur yelod choteshi. That very pasuk now he says that the rock yelod choteshi is, there was no more koyach kivyochol to give birth, which we said that's the problem that was holding up the moichin from being. Rashi Tevis, it's the same, acronym of Tzakaseinu Yodea Talumis. The one who knows all the hidden, knows our screams, our shouts. Tzakaseinu Yodea Talumis. In other words, they're both talking about the same thing. The Shechina is exhausted from giving birth to the Moichin. Kadosh Baruch Hu knows where the Moichin are, how they became, how they disappeared, and he listens to our cry. That Teshi, the word Teshi itself, is Rosh Hashanah, this is acronym of Tikolem Shivas Yomim. You're embarrassed for 7 days. Because this pasuk, Tikolem Shivas Yomim, also talks about the very same Inyan. It alludes to this Inyan of Leido, that is brought about by this Inyan of 70 voices. Now, obviously, we have no asaga of what the Rebbe is talking about. Well, one thing is for sure. You have to daven, when you have no moichin, you have to daven b'kol ha'am. You have to learn b'kol ha'am. And that's the reason why when people make Israelis, they go make Israelis in faraway places and they scream and they scream. Why do they scream? They scream because the moich is verstoppt. It's plugged up. You don't know what to say. You're going, you don't know what you're saying at all. So you scream and it opens up, opening up the moichin. Ad kan Likutei Moharan for today.